Hi, and welcome everybody to our reflections. And Christina and I were deep in discussion. We realized we hadn't pushed the record button. Um,
Yeah, so
and
we can just pick everyone back up to speed and keep going.
so, go ahead and ask your question again. By the way, I'm Dr. Mark Waller. This is Christina Black. And together, we are the three amigos. No, that's obviously not true. We're the two amigos from the Mastering Thought channel
I
on
know
YouTube.
Vanessa's not here. Sorry, Vanessa. We are three amigos together.
That's true. Vanessa is our
Yeah.
manager of our online community, Thought Masters.
Yeah.
Um,
But okay, so we had a
anyway,
question.
the purpose of this discussion,
Yeah.
our reflections, is we talk about what our thoughts are as a result of our recording we did on Monday, and then kind of look forward to our recording next week. And we are embroiled in an interesting conversation. So go ahead and start it again, Christina.
My question is, do you think there is a period of time where after someone has an awakening, but before they have like some kind of enlightenment, I guess, that is there like a few year shake off period where we correct uh incorrect thinking or heal trauma or heal physical ailments before we can like truly enter into an enlightenment state.
Yeah, and I wish I knew the answer to that. My perception is people who are truly enlightened understand that there is nobody here, there's nothing here. All this is an appearance in consciousness. And then your next question is, what are we supposed to do as a result of that?
Well, right. So I think, first we were talking about the blue dot theory for a little bit, based on why we're here and if, there are fewer rights and wrongs and like what's really going on here? Why are we here? And so, while I can say, in agreement with other videos, I don't necessarily believe there's like a matrix. I do wonder about simulation theory still myself, or so I don't know. Anyway, it's just I wonder, okay, if we are in some sort of experiment where the universe is wanting to experience itself, whether it be some sort of energy based thing or computer tech thing or something else I've missed completely. Why are we here? That kind of makes a difference on like maybe what our objectives could or should be, but we don't have the answer to that. So while we keep our eyes open, to me, the next best thought is to then just keep my eyes open, observe things as they are. But like with the blue dot theory, it states that, you're one person in 8 billion. The amount that you do in your life is going to affect relatively few of those 8 billion people. And furthermore, it's like nothing on a cosmic scale. But it's like it's so meaningful to you. So thus, live a life that's meaningful to you because you're the one who has to deal with how fulfilled you are or not, how happy you are or not. And so I don't take it as like a nihilist approach of like nothing matters, so give up. It's just like, yeah, like find what brings you joy. If it's
So,
not hurting anyone, chase it.
here's my question. What you're saying leads to this. Have you ever noticed that people who awaken, they'll tell you there's nobody here, there's nothing happening, it's all just an appearance and in consciousness. And, when you ask the question, what are we supposed to do? There's actually no we. The person that we believe we are actually is a construct.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Right.
and, and so now my question is, and I don't know the answer to this, but all these people who wake up, who become enlightened, what's the first thing they want to do? First
Well,
thing,
I don't know what you're gonna
first,
say.
first thing they
What's the
want to do
first thing
is
they
tell
want to
everybody
do?
about it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess I did text you about it right when it happened, and I was talking to Brett about. I did announce it right away when I
Yeah.
noticed it, and yeah,
And
you're
so,
right. Okay.
what is the purpose of that? So why would somebody have this gigantic awakening experience, realize there's nothing here, nothing has any inherent meaning other than what awareness is doing at any given time that wants to experience, then why would that person turn around and start teaching the principles of awakening and enlightenment to the rest of the world? It tells me that there's a fabric of something there, and
Right. Like we want to pull other people up.
that's right. And so it gets back to our our program on Monday. If we are the mirror um, for awareness to experience itself, and when we awaken, we want to help other people be a better mirror, then it tells me that the real motivation is, again, for awareness to experience itself. And so
Mm-hmm.
that innate desire is what makes people want to teach, spirituality to other people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Or
if that's true.
maybe the verbiage, maybe what was off then a little bit before was some verbiage of like, what are we supposed to do versus what do we want to do? Like maybe the question really is like, what are we wanting to do? Like, what are the
Mm-hmm.
polls? I don't know. Just thinking about to your dimensions of harmonics and thinking about them phase locking and if we phase lock with them and like
Mm-hmm.
the times that we are in flow state, the amount of time we spend in a day in flow state. I just want the more of that, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Why would we want more of that?
because it feels so good.
There you go. Yeah.
Right. And so,
So when we get in touch with our origin, there's this amazing thing that happens. So there must be some drive for the field to experience itself in such a way that the entire creation kind of rings in this harmonic symphony.
yeah.
And if that's not true, then what is true? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. In some ways it does seem like there is a hand that guides something for
Uh
the
huh.
benevolence of us. And at the same time, like nature is so brutal and,
Mm-hmm.
animals have to die to feed others. And there's all sorts of poetic ways that plays out in humanity too. So, like, I don't really know other than at least if there's something that can be brutal or violent, at least there's also times that something wants our good. I
These
don't
are,
know though.
I think, they're really deep questions, and I'm not sure I can answer them or I'll ever have the answer. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah. We're just two people talking.
All I know is that I've made the decision that there is meaning and that I've got to help people find that, and that I've been given gifts and insights to share, and I'm just going to go down that path whether it means anything or not. I don't know anything else to do.
Yeah. But here, okay, I'm gonna challenge you, and maybe you won't get my point, or maybe you do see the value in it. But like you've got to or you want to. Because I think too, if you got to, you might put an unnecessary, uncomfortable stress and pressure on it. Whereas, like,
Mm,
I know you want to. This is like your heart's desire, and like you spend a good amount of your, free time thinking about like this and how to help people with this. And I think that's
hmm
awesome. So it's like, yeah, like, if it sounds like maybe if you know it's something you want to do, then it's with that you don't have the pressure. You just spend more time doing what you want to do in flow state.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can give a clean, unadulterated answer to that.
I know it's hard, especially if it's hitting something non-conscious.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the problem of being in this system is you can't get outside of it to see how it really works. And so we're trying to figure it out from inside,
Right.
which,
Did you know? I think I just heard that someone discovered the Milky Way is inside of a black hole.
yeah,
And I was
wouldn't.
like, oh, well, maybe that explains why life is so weird. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, we just exist in a black hole, no big deal.
well, let me just share this. Several years ago, I was ambivalent. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't answer this question.
Hmm.
And I struggled with it. And I think we did a program on it a while back. And I just decided that there was a meaning and I did have a mission and there was something I was supposed to do.
Hmm.
And I just went with that. And within, I don't know, a few weeks, I met you. And
Mm.
then we started the channel and then we started doing all this stuff. And then it felt like everything fell into place.
Hmm.
And, I really felt a direction. Okay, where did that actually come from? I don't know. I just don't know.
Right. Right. And it's like there are those things that like we do get ushered in. Like craniosacral was totally ushered into my life. I have no, it felt sacred when the
Mm-hmm.
conversation was happening. Like I felt it in my gut, like, oh, something important is about to be said. And I felt tingly all about learning it. And I've been obsessed with it ever since knowing about it. So it's like something in the field, something with my place in the field let me know like, oh, this is the gravy, like this is part of the best stuff for you to be alive. And so I know that's real.
Yeah,
I You
that's
can't live it and think it's fake or made up. It's
right,
too weird.
right.
And
That's it. Yeah.
and I've had kind of like a lot of weird psychic moments. And it's like,
Right.
okay, I'm a part of some fabric where this information is shared. And sometimes I'm aware of how I'm tapped into it, and sometimes I'm not. But I'll tell you when I'm the most tapped into it is when I'm the least worried about myself or me.
So why would I have this awakening 40 years ago? Why would I suddenly understand relationships and be able to see it and come up with the lion unicorn model?
Yeah,
Why
right.
why would I have these, just enormous insights about how all this stuff works and be able to share it with people? And so at some point I had to come to a conclusion. It either means something or it doesn't mean anything. On the off chance that it does, then I'm going to do what I can to get it out there.
Hmm.
What what prompts that, what motivates it, whether it has meaning or not, I can't answer that question totally. I just can't.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
I wonder just if we were going to make it the most simple we could make it. If everything truly does have a frequency and we humans like and enjoy being at a higher and higher frequency, then it just makes sense that or like to not be alone. I'll add that as a caveat. But it makes sense that as we get better, we just want to see everyone else around us get better so that our fabric just stays at a higher vibration or something.
And the way I would explain that is because innately we know they are ourselves, that we
Oh,
are,
right, that we're all connected.
that we're all
Right,
connected, we're all one.
right. Yeah, just that philo love, the brotherly love
Well, it's self love. You know, I'm,
is, yeah, I'm saying brotherly love is self love,
yeah,
is
okay, yeah,
brotherly love, is self love.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what I'm doing is I'm realizing myself.
You're realizing yourself when you share,
Right,
or
because that person I'm sharing with is not a separate person, it's really me. Because
mm-hmm, right.
anyway, Yeah, it's, I know it's a weird conversation. Hopefully, if you've joined us,
I mean, yeah, it is a very deep conversation. Although this is the kind of conversation that I most love having. This is the kind of conversation I'd hope to have, like sitting on the back patio in the evening,
uh-huh.
like with the lights on, but it's dark everywhere else, and like hanging out with good people around the table.
Well, that's the only explanation as to why you and I are together.
Right, just being ushered.
Yeah, it's what we wanted. So here it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder about like, is that manifesting or is that something else providing it or what?
Well, one of the things I think we proved on the channel is that there is no self that is causing all this to happen. Our sense of self is sort of going for the ride.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right, because we don't actually make the decisions we think we make.
That's
They're
correct.
made a half hour or half second before we realize
Right.
it, right?
Right.
And sometimes up to 3 seconds, someone was saying.
Yeah. So,
So it's like, okay, you're really just being given directives.
mhm,
And at the same time, like you're conditioned by whatever your upbringing was and your experiences before were. They have literally trained you to be the creature that you are right now. And so it's like, okay, and then you just believe that. And that's self,
right.
right?
And yeah, and the ego self
Right?
really is not in control of any of this. It's just convinced itself it is.
Right. And that hijacks each of us from the beginning.
Yeah.
That ego is self. I really do think that knowing you are not the voice in your head is a fundamental, basic, like human right.
Gigantic.
I wish that it was taught in elementary schools. I wish, like, did I tell you I told my son that
Yeah.
he's not the voice in his head? And he's so cute. He's on the spectrum too, and I just think it makes his little mechanical perfect answers make a lot of sense because he's just like Spock sometimes, but like a little more touchy-feely. And so I just told him, like sometimes the voice in your head will say sad or mean things about who you are or what you are to you, and you don't have to believe it. And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, thanks for telling me that because I probably wouldn't know about that without you."
Yeah. Isn't that the truth?
And he was just so simple and sweet about it, little 9-year old. Like, thanks for telling me about that. But
So what we're talking about is the episode we just recorded last Monday, where it's called "The Structure of Presence Part 2," where we laid out really a unique new model of how this works. I mean, I don't know that I've ever heard it quite this way anywhere. And it's interesting. I'm having quite an experience. The episode is doing very well, but the retention is not good.
mm,
And I think the reason our retention on the episode is not as good as it could be is because people look at the title, how I think it's "How Awareness Creates Reality" or something like that. And it's it's like all this get rich stuff, The Secret and all that other stuff. They figure, okay, I'm going to get a new Cadillac somehow, and this is going to explain to me how I'm going to do it. And when they realize it's something deeper and more fundamental, I think people just lose interest because
so it's like they have a different definition for what presence is and means and gets you.
well, I think
And then when they don't feel like you're giving them what they think presence should give you, then they don't want to be there.
I think there's a big investment in new age type people in ultimately having the ego distort this into getting what it wants. Well, what does it want? It wants money, it wants sex, it wants relationships, it wants all
Yeah,
the
right. It's
stuff.
not wanting to die.
And
It's not wanting to be killed.
and so and so when you start talking about something that's much more fundamental and serious, and the ego realizes, oh, I'm not going to, this is not the secret to becoming a millionaire, then people just kind of lose interest.
Like how you and I both said we had experiences, really troubling, hard experiences on ourselves before we were open to this whole idea. Like, I wonder if there has to be something in you deeper that goes like, "Hey, I'm honestly just trying to survive."
Uh-huh.
Like, I wonder if your soul kind of needs to be brought to that place before you can even care about awakening.
I think what has to happen, in my words, it's the same idea, is people have to come to a point where their ego is broken and they're
Yeah.
and they're ready to surrender. I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, I'm a psychotherapist. I have been one for almost 27 years. People come to me, their life is messed up, just completely messed up. Their relationships failing, their career's a nightmare. They're angry and they're reactive and they can't sleep, and I mean the whole gamut, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to get them to even listen to a conversation,
Well,
you know?
that's why I'm surprised so many of your clients will do the moment mindfulness exercise. Like you're saying, like everyone who does it like has these great experiences, and I love that. And it makes sense. Like if their ego's broken by the time they come into you, they're kind of like well prepped. Versus me, my clientele, like I can talk to people about our stuff, but like the reality is it's hard. It's hard for me to know how to like tell other people why they should care.
Yeah,
And like the best stuff is usually when they'll say like, "Oh, I'm like overridden with anxiety or depression," and then I'll talk about moment mindfulness, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is that's so really cool. I'll try it." But I've yet to have anyone come back to me and say I've done it all the way to an awakening.
right.
And so it's like, I've been telling people about this for a few years now. And so I'm just wondering, like, is there something that can be inspired, or is this just the way the dance goes? Like, as someone who's an experienced and mature, awakened person, maybe it's just like, I don't know, like maybe there's some wisdom to take from this information here that it's not going to be very many people, or and that's the way it is, but if you do care and it does appeal to you, there are these benefits from doing it. Like, I don't know.
That's
Or is it supposed to take on like wildfire and everybody in the world is going to have an awakening because energetically the dominoes tip? Like, I don't know. I just know that
um,
this stuff has been true for me.
yeah, and all I know is I just have to do my part.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. Yeah. And detach from the outcome.
exactly. Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
big thing in craniosacral therapy. When you come to the body you're going to work on, like you are connecting physically, you are connecting energetically, and you're aware of both of those, and you treat it with reverence, but you also uh, are supposed to not have a will for how the body work results end up.
uh,
You're supposed to show up and be there and hang out, and then like when you're ushered away, leave.
right.
And I almost wonder if like we're just doing like the storyline dance of that. Like we're ushered here to give this info,
Right.
and we need to be detached from the outcome.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Welcome to our world if you're listening to this. this
Yeah, I
this
guess so. This is inside the fourth wall, huh?
well, no, I think for people who care, I mean, this is the conversation. These are fundamental issues that, everybody I'm sure has at some level when they get into this, area. And this is an honest conversation,
Yeah.
you know, as opposed to, some guy standing in front of an audience telling them to activate their pineal gland and everything is going to be okay. It's just, um, you know,
Which maybe there's some truth to that sometimes.
maybe,
I don't
maybe,
know.
maybe it works for some people.
Maybe I do think that mind, body, and spirit all affect each other. And so I'm not sure if all roads lead to Rome, but I do think that there's a lot of roads to Rome. Let's say that.
I think there's a lot of people looking for an easy answer that doesn't
Yeah.
require effort.
It's hard to get ourselves to care
Yeah,
for the long term, I think.
right.
And I wonder if that's like a downside of like fast gratification things, is that
Hmm.
like, people aren't as willing to put the work in to something so remarkable. But yeah, I don't know. Because I've told several people like this moment mindfulness exercise is the single most significant like change I've had from
Hmm.
the least amount of work.
Right. Yeah.
Like other than honestly like taking mushrooms, which is less work, but also, like that's not available to everybody and it's not even available to me all the time. Like,
Well, don't you
you
think
know,
when it comes to psychedelics, don't you think the frame of reference has a lot to do with it too?
oh, what do you mean by that?
What I mean is, if you're taking it recreationally, that's one thing. But if you have a goal in mind of understanding something or seeing something
Yeah,
differently, then
100%.
then your frame of mind is setting you up for having maybe a different kind of an experience.
Yeah, I think, if you're thinking about it more in terms that would agree with like a plant medicine, quote unquote, kind of a vibe versus like a party drug, like, yeah, your intention
Right.
starts everything. It's the whole setting, it's everything. I would guess just like you and Eckhart Tolle are the only people I've ever heard of that have just fallen into an awakening. I'm sure it would
Right.
be like similar numbers percentage wise of people who fall into an awakening from mushrooms, but or whatever psychedelic. That being said, um, I do think that it gives us revelations we can handle
Hmm.
when we're in that state. Although I learned something really crazy the other day. I didn't fact check it. So if anyone listening or Mark, if you know that this is wrong, then please correct me. But
It's
it was
wrong.
someone was saying that psychedelics actually don't turn off your default mode network. Both your task positive network and default mode network are on at the same time, but that you don't have as much of an emotional attachment to the story you carry when you're on psychedelics because there's so much joy because
Mm.
it mimics the joy chemical, and that so that if you feel a lot safer to detach from the meanings you had given things.
I've done some reasonable research on this, and all the people I've read say that the DMN gets shut off.
Okay, well then I'll
But
tell my friend. This is
but
my very
I
well read friend, so that's why
but
I was
but
talking about it.
that may not be the last word on this. Now it's interesting that the turn the conversation has taken because this leads into next Monday when we record.
Hmm.
It's back to the part three of the structure of presence, and this is going to be how to live that, and we're going to give some specific exercises. Moment mindfulness that Christina has talked about a couple times is one very important exercise, and there are going to be two or three
Totally, and
others.
it's not even illegal, which is great.
Right. And there are going to be two or three others that one of we're going to talk about the lion unicorn model of relationships, and that's not even an exercise, but the more you understand that, I think the more it leads you into levels of awareness.
Yeah, kind of more flow in life.
And then we're going to do an exercise or two that are oriented toward getting you in touch with the underlying field of awareness. And in order to do
Yeah.
that, you kind of have to bypass the self, and I've got a couple clever ways of doing that. So,
Hmm. Yeah, interesting. And I'm wondering too if like the trauma stuff, the stage I'm at is maybe like precedes the step that you're gonna suggest. Like me noticing like, oh, when I have more awareness, like I'm becoming more aware of the things I always had stuffed down. And so
Well,
now it's like I'm dealing with it.
well,
But
one of
how do you think that ties into like the disidentification from self?
I don't think it. I don't think it does directly. I think what it does is the lion unicorn model takes you back to those. I don't call them trauma, but emotional patterns.
Hmm.
And but the key is to be able to see that emotional pattern coming up in your face in the moment it's happening right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely there's both. For me, I'm not saying that um, the only things affecting me are trauma. I know I have plenty of non-conscious patterns that I will do even when I'm trauma free kind of
So
a
I'm
thing.
not, and we can talk about this next week when we record, but I'm not sure I always understand what people mean when they say trauma. What I always,
Yeah, I guess for me, like what's coming up as I have, and maybe it's just because I'm like making little steps to change my life for the better. And so maybe it's as my vibration is raising or something. If we're going to go with a theory like that, then it's like my body craves to continue to get better and go higher. And so it's like bringing up more things that have been keeping me down,
I
that have been
totally
a
agree
load
with
on
that.
my system.
Right.
And so it's like as I'm getting better, I'm noticing more and more things that I could uh, heal from that have left their fingerprints on me and have changed me from being my authentic self.
That's 100% what I mean. Exactly.
Yeah, okay. And so I know I'll also have non-conscious patterns that are like designed, my brain has designed them to get me the things that instinctually I want the most.
Right.
But with also I feel like with awakening, like those things kind of go away because it seems like it sort of changes your autonomic nervous system. The more awakened you are, the calmer you are.
And the easier it is to track those things down when they do arise.
Hmm.
So one of the things that I think is very important is when any emotional reaction comes up, to really track that down because that's like the phone ringing. Okay, there's a message here. What do I need to hear? And what
Hmm.
people normally do is they try to get away from the feelings instead of realizing that, for lack of a better way of saying this, that awareness is showing it to them because it's an obstacle to fulfillment.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, like, I guess I have some practical questions because then, like, when is it that you're being selfish and when is it that, like, what you want really is the right thing? Like, I don't know.
Well, okay, so there's two separate things here. Your emotional reaction to not getting what you want always takes you back to your childhood.
Hmm.
And what you want is a legitimate human emotional need.
Mm.
See, just because you resolve some issue you had, with your father or whatever, doesn't mean you still don't want approval. That's okay. It's you need,
Like it's okay to want those
of
things,
course,
want
yeah.
peace and want
But
approval.
now you're doing it with awareness, and you're totally understanding. Okay, I didn't get it, and it hurt me and it wounded me, but I still want to get it, and that's why I married Ralph because I want to get this from Ralph, and I need to clearly communicate this to him because this is when I feel the most cared for and comfortable is when I'm getting that need met.
Hmm. So you're just kind of observing how it's like for you to live like as a creature, and
Yeah,
then you're like accommodating that.
right.
Right. And I'm sometimes wondering too if like if there's space for, should you just be getting that approval or safety from yourself?
I,
Like, not
you,
saying you shouldn't have other relationships, but should you not need other relationships, or is that impossible?
I don't think you need to answer that question for universally. If you want another person in your life, then get one.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what you want. If you want to
Mm-hmm.
do it alone, then do it alone. I don't think there's a rule that. I think it's better if you're with somebody because that's always going to be stimulated until you take care of it.
Right. Like, you can't just ignore your problems
Yeah, so
necessarily with someone else with no ramification.
right, people who, check out so they don't have to feel the feelings are missing the opportunity to deal with the issue.
And get that off of their mind, their nervous system, yeah.
Right. So what they do is they run away from it and isolate themselves so they don't have to feel the feelings. And then they're missing, in my opinion, they're missing the opportunity to go deeper and to heal more.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I agree with you. Ideally, we should be able to take care of ourselves. But on the other hand, if there's this person right there that can help, let's ask them to help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. Thank you. We've never really like taken the conversation like this, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we hope you all enjoy this conversation. We're just kind of giving you a behind the scenes look at our conversation and how we think and how we interact and how we talk. And then, this all evolves into some kind of a video on mastering thought.
No, this is just audio, right?
This is just audio.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. You think it's going to be used on a video?
No.
Oh.
No, what I do when I publish these is I put them into Final Cut Pro, and then I publish only the audio. And the audio is what gets uploaded. It goes into Spotify, and then it shows up as a podcast in YouTube. And so
Yeah.
there's no video.
Yeah. I think you just said video earlier. It's okay. It's not a
Oh,
big deal.
maybe I confused the issue.
It's okay.
But what I'm
No
saying
big.
is our conversation is what ultimately shows up as a video when we record our episodes for Mastering Thought.
Oh, like when you click on it, where you click on it from.
And so, for those of you who are loyal followers, this kind of gives you an idea what our thinking is and how we're kind of groping our way along here.
Yeah. Thanks for caring and listening. We love your thoughts too.
We do. So check out our podcast, Our Reflections. We try to do this in between our Mastering Thought recordings. And there's another podcast that we're producing. They're deep dives and they're AI driven, and they are fantastic. They are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
they are
so
cool.
check those out on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and I'm missing somebody. Spotify, Apple, YouTube.
Spotify, Apple, YouTube.
I can't think of what the other one is. Oh, Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, if they're hearing this, they're already there. But they can tell their friends how else they can listen to it.
And Christina, thank you for your vulnerability. It really is a gift.
Yeah, thanks for being willing to have the conversations. That's like rare too.
All right, everybody. See you next time.
All right, thanks for listening.
Bye
Live bolder, think deeper.
bye.